Kitch.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, I was way too enthusiastic considering what we're about to talk about, but no Deno, so we don't have Mr. Positive with us this week, which is will be a nice break considering our tone.
The hello is where my positive starts or stops. That's why. So
Well,
said
listen,
positive for a little bit. I'm done the positivity now.
The only thing that's changed in the last week in Raptorville is you're off your deathbed and I'm climbing onto mine. So, and speaking of deathbeds, I think the Raptors might be climbing onto theirs as well. So, so listen, here's where we're at. We're going to have a big grading system. We're going to grade all these players, which we're going to do next week when Deno's back. Actually, I've got a whole, you know what? I'm going to steal a little Bill Simmons. We're going to grade, which he doesn't do. We're going to grade our players, and then we're going to do a trade value just for Raptors-based players. Who's got the best trade value? So we're going to do that coming up too. So with that, this is going to be brief. I've got a special AOB, but you and I will be relatively brief. So DP, I was just talking to you. You're going to have to have a couple more cigarettes during your workout this time to make up for to get to your 50-minute workout, because this is going to be about 20. All right, Kitch, with that, before we dive into Monday night's action against the Sixers, another gut punch loss, why don't you just give Raps Nation a little insight into where your head's at?
What has happened to the chemistry of the Toronto Raptors? Like, we were a team that played as a unit, that were very strong in ball distribution. We had a great, that's just disappeared. It's like we're just a bunch of individuals out there right now, and it's like we don't run plays, we don't play defense anymore. Like, everything's imploding. I as you saw in my endless texts during the game, I'm very emotional with this. I'm having trouble accepting the fact that this team, which was such a great run heading into the end of last season, is so bad right now. What has happened?
Well, listen, I can vouch, Raptors Nation, for Kitch's volatility on the WhatsApp chats during these games. Even before, like, I can't remember after which game it was. I think it was Sunday night's game that we got dump trucked by Golden State. The text came out and said, I've already bet the Sixers -6.5 for tomorrow night. That's how frustrated Kitch got, because obviously I won't go there. I'll tell you, that's the sign of the apocalypse. If I ever bet against the Raptors, that's one of the signs of the apocalypse for sure. But Kitch went there, but we understood volatile emotional times.
Yeah, and of course I lost, because if the Raptors are going to lose, you got to lose by 6.5. You got to lose by 7 if you're going to lose. Don't keep it close and lose, because then I'm mad you lost, and I lost my bet. So like that didn't even work out.
Well, but there were a couple times, there were twice in that game where you thought that bet looked really good.
Oh yeah,
I mean, there were big leads at one stage too, and then all of a sudden we looked like a team. But to your point about the chemistry, I mean, I noticed it more on defense than anything else. Like, we're kind of broken defensively. It is amazing the number of good looks that these other teams continually get against us. Like, Draymond Green hit 3 3-pointers against us. That's the first time all season he's hit 3 3-pointers in a game. It might be the first time in 3 years that he's had 3 3-pointers in one game. Jordan Poole goes off for 43. There's always these highlights.
Harris in the Sixers game.
Well, yeah, I was going to get to him and those 2 threes at the end, even though one didn't count. But but my point is that where there's always these highlight reel games for these other guys when they're playing us defensively right now. That, again, is not coincidence. That is a trend that speaks emphatically about our defensive chemistry. I like that word. And then, if you go into Monday night, like, look at that. We have was it a 7-point lead with 2.5 left? It was something like that. It was 7.
Yep.
And what happens? We have a defensive breakdown. Harris gets a wide open 3. Boom, it's 4 points, just like that. And then we'll get to our offensive production in the fourth. But then, that's what it is. Like, so yeah, it's horrible right now on defense. And I'd say team morale doesn't look great either.
Well, no, and like, our team prides himself on defense. Like Nick Nurse he says, you know what, we're going to lead by our defense. Our team is built around defense. We score our points based on our defense. Like, we are a defensive focused team that is not playing defense. So that's not a good recipe for success.
Well, and then that, and in addition to you add the fact that we are really struggling shooting it from anywhere, let alone 3-point land. It's a real problem. So the Simmons podcast today, was it today? Yesterday, came out yesterday. They got to the Raptors at one stage, and they were just, him and his guests were just sort of dumbfounded as to where the Raptors were. And they were talking about, they're saying the same, it's like they were listening to us. They were saying the same things that we've been saying. Something's not right. The team doesn't seem to fit. The pieces don't fit. and that there's a real issue, and not obvious that it's going to get turned around anytime soon. And I mean, we're 13-18 right now. We're going against the Knicks team who's won 7 in a row, and then you look at our lineup the rest of the calendar year. You could paint a loss and like there's no easy game.
Well, and like the guys that Matty D said that we got the 5th hardest schedule in the NBA at the current time for the rest of the season. I'm like, the 5th hard. That was a stat they threw it twice in the last 2 games. 5th hardest schedule from now to the end of the season.
Well, listen, I guess we can take some solace in the fact that Orlando walked into Boston and beat them twice.
Yeah,
so that made me feel a little bit better about our situation. So like I said, it doesn't get any easier. All right, listen.
But the thing that's tough here is, and the thing that I have trouble with that sort of train of thought is, it's not like we brought a bunch of new parts in and the things aren't fitting right, like things aren't working right. This is the same team that fit at the end of last year. Now we got injured and got beat up in the playoffs, but they fit going on, and they came out of the gates okay this year. They were fit, but so what has happened? Because the roster hasn't changed. So what has happened with these guys that no longer fit? There's got to be something out there that is just, if guys aren't buying in anymore, or something's gone awry.
Well, listen, the whole Nick Nurse thing I think is real. I'm not saying it's at a stage where they're going to fire him midseason. I would be shocked if they fired him midseason. I would be shocked. I guess I'd be surprised if he wasn't our coach at the start of next year. However, there does seem to be. I mean, you could certainly question whether or not his voice has been lost a little bit, right? Yeah. Even listener Brock pointed that out the other day. He sort of feels it a little bit. When we're at the games, it kind of feels like that a little bit. Maybe that's losing. Who knows? Like, we're not inside the locker room. No idea. Yeah. I mean, this is just a tough spot to be in. And you're talking about this team being the same this year as it was last year. We should go back. Maybe we'll get Deno on this week. Maybe on Christmas Day we'll get down and do some research on where were we at the end of last season. We should go back and look at the last 10, 15 games of last season, figure out what our stats were as far as defensive efficiency, shooting, assists. Let's just see where we're at. Because I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't drastically if it wasn't close to being the same. Like I bet there's a drastic difference between last year and this year. It just feels different, obviously, when you're winning those games. But I'm going to keep harping on last year. We got gifted 5 or 6 wins at home, and then who knows how many wins we got on the road when teams weren't at full strength and COVID time. Like, you can't. I think people have minimized that, right? I think people have asked, were we really a 48-win team last year? And if you go based on this year, because it is the exact same team, we're probably not. But we'll see. But let's break down 76er fourth quarter offense for a second, because I think that's important to, I think it speaks to the Nick Nurse thing a little bit, because he kind of, like, I really was down on him for that fourth quarter as much as I was on Siakam and some of his shot selections, but clearly.
And overtime, too. You got to throw overtime in there as well.
That's right, and overtime. Yeah, that's right. The fourth quarter and overtime. But, I mean, look at that stuff at the end of games. Like, even the bucket that Siakam threw in to tie it up, like, that was kind of a prayer. That wasn't a set play, or, if anything, I was going to kick it back out to Freddie at the top of the key, but he probably thought, you know what, Freddie hasn't made a 3 in an hour and a half. I'm not going to throw it back to him.
Boucher's 3, like, step back 3 that went in. That should never gone in. There was another one right before that. I can't remember who shot it that shouldn't have went in. I'm like, so usually when you got these crap threes that go up and they go in, usually you win that game. Usually you get lucky and you win that. But we still found a way to lose, even when we made shots that weren't good high percentage looks.
Well, look at our last 4 minutes of regulation and then all of overtime. We scored 2 points in overtime. Okay.
Yeah, 2.
And if you watch those offensive sets, there is almost no ball movement. Literally no ball movement. There was maybe a screen at the top of the key, and then it was who's ever got the ball is going to try and do something one-on-one with very little action anywhere else in the half court set. Yeah. And then you look at that last play when we're down 3. I mean, first of all, I don't even think we want Siakam shooting that 3. Like, that's got to be Freddie or OG. There's got to be a set play run for Freddie or OG to get that look. Or even, you know what? If Malachi Flynn's going to be on the court, and he was, I'd rather have him shoot it.
Yeah.
Than Siakam at that stage.
Yeah. That's desperation stages for you.
But the last thing I want is Siakam with no screen, dribbling one-on-one, and then off the dribble pull up 3. Like, that thing never had a chance. And I'm just sitting there going, well, what is that? Why is that happening? Like, that's on Nurse.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't have. Well, yeah, I agree. Nurse to score 2 points. He's got to run some set plays in in and ball movement, like this one-on-one stuff. It's never worked for us ever. And why do we keep defaulting that? And we did it on every possession in overtime. Every possession was a one-on-one. Wasn't any ball movement. We're a team that prides itself. Like, he's got to yell out like your midget boys coach did. 5 touches, boys. 5 touches before we take a shot. 5 touches. Like,
Hoosiers. Dale. What was his name? Hoosiers. Dale something.
Chipwich was Jimmy Chipwich.
He was the shooter, but Norman Dale. Norman Dale was the coach. Yeah, 4 passes. No one shoots for 4 passes. But it is. I know it's. I mean, John, make sure you cut this up because people will love this on TikTok if we start talking like this. But it is kind of true. Like, we almost need that fundamental of like, okay, boys, like to your point about our 95 coaches, how about cut some tape and says, guys, look at the looks we're getting when we have more than 2 or 3 passes. And then look at the looks we get. Exactly. It is. And then have them buy in and run sets. Well, listen, we sound like a broken record. It's so frustrating. It is so lazy.
But I sort of went back and watched games. I'm thinking, what's wrong here? We don't have that player. We don't have the player on the court who can elevate everybody else's game, like can make everybody else look better. Like we got these guys that come in and they shoot. Like Freddie goes off for 30 plus. Siakam goes off the next night for 30 plus. We got these individual guys that can have big nights. But then, like, are the 76ers? Siakam goes for 38, and then OG and Boucher, our next highest scorers at 13. And Boucher's coming off the bench. So our next starter's at 13, everybody else below that. Like, if Siakam scores 38, it's got to somehow translate to making the rest of the team play a little bit better. And we don't have that guy. And I know at the beginning of the year, we really hoped and thought that Scotty could be that guy, where Scotty could create some offense and Scotty could make everybody around look better. But he has not. He has not been doing that lately at all.
He's very inconsistent, right? It was a terrible game in Philadelphia for him. I mean, I think he was 6-4-3.
And he got benched. He got benched
for most of the fourth, and they brought him back in with 2 minutes in the fourth. Yeah, he's not looking. It's just inconsistent because the 2 games before that, I would say, those were solid games. But again, like the game before that, was it the game we were at? Like, he's knocking down I think he had 2 or 3 threes. Like, that's not going to happen every night for him. He has done nothing. I was just going to bring Barnes up. I was going to do word association. Just say Scotty Barnes because I'm beyond concerned about his development. Mm-hmm. He's added nothing to his game that I can tell. And then I would say the intangibles he brought last year, with whether it be just hustle, rebounding, offensive rebounding. Like, I think his offensive rebounding. And again, we'll get down on the stats on this on the Boxing Day. I think his offensive rebounding is way down year over year. Mm-hmm. That would be my gut feel, that it's way down. So we'll figure some of that stuff out. But yeah, there's something missing. And this goes back to the whole thing. Like, is there something missing with all of it? And Boucher is another good example. Great game in Philly, all over the boards, 13 points, was a bit of a menace on defense, was long, had a couple block shots. But that's every 4 or 5 games now for him. Yeah, we can't have that. And then that gets nursed into these rotations where he's like, okay, well, that guy played good last game. I'll put it. And then next thing you know, it's a shit game. He goes, all right, well, he's like, So I think Nick's got to make some tough decisions too on the rotation and tighten it up.
We're a team. We're a team of individuals right now. We're a team of individuals. We're not we're not playing as a unit. So maybe that unit's got to spend more time together. I don't know what it is, but there's no cohesiveness on the offensive end. It's just sort of. It really looks dysfunctional.
Yeah, it doesn't look like a pro offense of any kind.
No.
Yeah, and then the last thing on this, because we are beating the horse here, but like, look at us at the end of games here again. Like, our only play in the last 5 minutes of a tight game is to sit there and get the ball to Siakam and say, okay, figure it out,
and hope. Yeah,
and hope.
Yeah. And that's like, how about let's run a pick and gets Siakam on a screen, and maybe he's got a lane to the hoop then, or he gets fouled on the way to the hoop. Not just, here's the ball 85 feet from the net. We're going to go all stand in the corner. Just try to score for us. Like, that is not an offense. That's not an offensive play. Come on. And that is partial on Nick. That is partially on Nick for sure.
Yeah. I don't know how it could be on anybody else, to be honest.
Yeah.
Listen, at the Knicks tonight, shockingly, we're only getting 1.5 points, which honestly, I really wish I didn't have this.
There you go. I'm going 2 for 2. I'm betting the Knicks. That's it. I'm on the Knicks. I'm on the Knicks tonight.
I wish it was in my genes. I wish I could do it. I really do. Because if anyone in Vegas is listening to this, or if you have any access to any betting site, of course you're not going to get it tonight. But even the next game, if they lose tonight, get killed, and that spread's not. Who they got next? Oh, they're in Cleveland on Friday. That spread will be 8 or 9. But even that, bet it. I mean, like we got to get out of this funk somehow. But I don't think it's happening. I don't have any feel whatsoever that we're coming out of this anytime soon.
Did the Knicks win last night? Did they pull it off?
Beat them by 30. Beat the Warriors. The Warriors that beat us by 20. The Knicks beat by 30.
So we're going to lose by 50. Holy cow!
Oh, good. Yeah, simple math. Simple math. So we are. Yeah. Well, then you know what? Your bet should be good tonight.
Should be more than 1.5.
All right, listen. We should probably anything else from Raptor that we need to.
You want to go mid to half term? What's going on with this squad?
Well, no, we're gonna do that all next week with our grading and trade value system.
So we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait to discuss next week how I'm gonna trade Freddie. We're gonna hold off that.
Yeah. Can you talk about it? That'd be a nice trade value segment. Yeah. I mean, listen, but everyone is talking about how he's the guy that probably has to go and would bring back the most right now, which is actually they're saying that in the context of your OG's not available. I actually think OG would probably get us the most right now if we were willing to part with him.
Really?
I think so. I think
I'd go more Freddie. OG's not going to score 30 points in a game for you.
Yeah, but he's that whole model NBA guy, right? I mean, he's long, lanky, great defensively, shooting it okay from 3, right? Like,
I think the new NBA likes that 30.
Better piece on the championship team, I think, than Freddie would be.
Oh yeah,
I think so.
Right. Well, they're very different too. So it depends on the team too. It depends on what the hole on that team. Does that team need a point guard or do they need a power forward? So, I lost you. Did you mute yourself?
Yeah, here we go. Yeah, we'll dive into all that next week, and we'll figure out who's got the best trade value, and we're going to grade our players. And even though I saw some of the previews on the Deno Kitch grading system, three of us are not on the same page with some of those grades.
I was trying to be kind of nice, but it was tough.
I think you were too nice in some cases. I think both of you.
I was trying to be nice. I was looking for Deno. I was trying to be nice for Deno because Deno thinks we're a little too negative, and so I was trying to.
Yeah, you know what? But I got some feedback about Deno being too positive last week.
Oh yeah,
that he wasn't. Yeah, he wasn't seeing. Yeah, it's true. I mean, rose-colored glasses. His whole life is one lens of rose color.
Well, kind of.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Parts of it.
Right. All right. Yeah. Let's move on. Anything else? NBA. We should.
NBA. I don't have anything else NBA related. No. We probably should talk about the league and one of these things. Something a little more interesting, so we get out of the negativity of the Raptors.
Well, no. I don't want to do that. Well, when there's something positive to talk about, when the Raptors are winning, then we'll be positive about everything. But the NBA sucks. If the Raptors lose, the NBA sucks. It's a stupid league. I might start watching college. All right. Well, listen. Let's. We're brief today because, of course, I'm under the weather. I've got 9 people coming to my house. So, all right. What are we? Backyard.
Backyard. We're going to start though. Before heading to backyard, we're going to start with some NFL talk. So we talk because backyard gambling is NFL driven.
Sure.
So we can't go through this without bringing up. So now I've got. So I'm a fan of the Raptors, obviously, and I got Nick Nurse in his downward spiral here, only to be followed by my New England Patriots and the end of the Belichick regime. I think Bill has finally got to the end now, and after the debacle at the end of that Raiders game with the pitch back, and it was shocking. I watched it probably 10 times thinking, what went into that whole decision making of this decision by the player? Like what actually occurred in his mind, and the fact that it all went sideways, and the fact that and then Belichick, it's not a good play. Like there's a point where and the offense of New England's awful to watch. Patricia is not an offensive minded coach. She never be there. His son, Belichick's son, is working on the defense. Son, a little bit of let's just put my son in there as a job. That's an easy job. Don't need any experience there. So it's the end. It's the end of the regime for Mr. Bill. I want to see him go out on a high note. One of the best coaches out there. Don't stick around for another 3 or 4 years and try to put lipstick on a pig. It'll just make your dynasty worse.
So this is on the Simmons pod this week too. But they are talking about how he's sticking around for the all-time coaches win. Right? He wants to win.
So? What's that?
Yeah,
that's 28. He's got like 28 more wins. 29.
I think they said 32.
Not 32.
So
Okay.
we call it 30 by the end of the season. So he's getting, and that's at least that's probably 3 more seasons. That's 10
With
seasons.
that team, it's 4. Probably 4 with that team.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
69. Does he want to do this till 70? But I'm not sure Kraft has got to pay. Like Kraft wanted Garoppolo. He
or Garoppolo, either one.
That guy as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they stuck with Brady, and then Brady left and won a championship because he didn't want Brady around anymore. And it's like I think Bill's pushed a few things lately that haven't, and they gave Bill the draft this year. Like they said, here, Bill, here's a lot of money, make the draft, and it did nothing. He was atrocious with it. So I'm thinking he's getting a little tight. I think there could be a amicable exit at the end of this year.
Well, there's that speculation. Him and Kraft. There's a wedge there with those two because of the whole Brady thing. And I mean, so who knows? I mean, I'm not that dialed into that scenario, but I mean, that game was horrible. Like, you just can't lose a football game like that. I mean, tie game, you go into overtime, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and the chance of that play working. But Myers did come out and say, Jacoby Myers, he said, like, that was the coaches weren't telling us to Lauer. We Stevenson Lauer to him. He just thought, well, I'm hot potato. But then just the decision of where he was throwing that ball to
40 yards back.
And there's only one Patriot in that area, right? Like, so, like, what was that guy going to do?
Yeah.
Right?
What's Mac Jones going to do catching that ball?
Who's he lateraling it to? So, yeah, that is amazing. The stuff, yeah, I mean, that was wild. And then the only thing is, the biggest thing is that everyone's like, well, it's a Belichick team, right? If that's any other coach in the league, like, yeah, they take it on the chin too, but it's magnified because it's Belichick, right? That play. Yeah. So yeah. I kind of feel for him. But yeah, listen, I'm not sure anybody should be coaching any professional sports team in their 70s.
No,
that should be ruled.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah.
You shouldn't be allowed to hold public office in your 70s, and you should not be allowed to be the head coach of $1 billion franchise.
And you shouldn't be able to run a country.
Yeah, well, it's public office. I mean,
okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think you have recovered yet. I think you still live in all right. Well, listen, thank you for that Belichick rant. That's
and then the NFL in general. This is going to be my Drives Crazy. We had another one, so I'm going to throw this in here. I watched, because I was COVID, I watched a ton of football. I probably watched 30 hours of football in 2 days on Saturday, Sunday. And I can't get over how bad the NFL officiating is this year. It was the worst display of officiating I've seen in any sport. Was the NFL refs this weekend. Like that Monday night game was Monday night, the Washington game at the end of the Washington game, that ref, poor McLaurin gets up to the line, he looks at the ref, points and says, like, is this okay? The ref ignores him, and they're running like a quarterback sneak, so it's completely irrelevant to where that receiver is, and the guy runs the sneak, he gets it in, and that judge throws a flag on the sideline. I'm like, are you kidding? Like for nothing to do with the play. But I find that when I come to the conclusion after watching these games, like I was watching KCS, and there was like 5 pass interferences in a row, 2 legitimate, 3 very questionable. There's so many refs on the field in the NFL, and I think they're all just trying to justify their existence. Like they have to feel some sense of importance, so they are calling the most ticky tack or most not major infractions because they want to feel relevant. They want to throw a flag. They want to make a penalty call. The refs have to let, it's football, boys. The refs have to let the game, boys and girls, the refs have to let the game happen so that the players can play. Because I watched so much NFL football this week. I'm like, every second play, it seemed like it was stopped with a flag. Well, that's no fun to watch.
I'm not sure the audience can tolerate us breaking down every one of the NFL referee plays you didn't like this weekend. That's a pod. That's a 3-week pod to itself.
There's a lot. It was a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
I know because I got a text on every one. You may want to. We won't let the audience know what the reason behind your intensity of watching the Kansas City game. But that's a whole other story too. But maybe an NFL referee is like a Raptors assistant coach, just sitting around trying to justify their existence.
Not doing it. I think it is. They're trying to find a reason to throw a flag. Don't do it. All
right, listen. Thank you. Let's move on. Let's get our picks in.
Backyard gambling? All right.
Yeah, backyard gambling, our picks, quick, what drives, AOB, and then I got to go.
Last week, stellar week for the whole group, my betting account. Probably one of the best NFL weeks I've had in, as far as I can remember. So last place going into the week was Deno. He had 3 unders. He had San Fran, Seattle under, Tennessee Chargers under, New Orleans Land under, 3-0 Dano. All three came in under.
Oh, hot.
So big win for him. 14 and 13. That was 14 and 13. First time in the year he's above 50%, 52%.
First time ever he's been above 50%.
Well done, Dano. Well done. Second last week, and second because he got to make his own picks. Bart, San Fran over Seattle by 8 covers.
Easy.
Cincy over Tampa. Came back, and I actually only saw the first half of that game, and I wrote that off. I'm like, oh my God, what happened in the second half?
Same thing. I went out that night. I had dinner out that night. I did the same thing. I was like, oh, it was 17-0.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's done.
Yeah.
I made a significant wager on it too. And I came home. What a pleasant surprise that was.
And then your lock, and riding the red hot Detroit Lions, who battled back hard in that game and are actually very entertaining to watch. I'd recommend you watch the Lions game now. They won 20-17. Bart goes 3-0 on the week, 1-0 with his lock.
There you go.
15 and 12, 56%. So that's winning strategy. That's great. You should have parlayed that. That was my parlay win of the week, Bart, was those 3 picks. That was the ones I wanted to. So you should have done that in your betting account. You would have been much more profitable if you had followed your wishes.
I did okay this week. Don't.
Okay,
that's fine. Yeah, thank you.
My token pick you gave me was a San Fran one, so that was good. 21-30. So I got that one in there. And then my desperation, I'm just kind of throwing it. Dallas, Jacksonville, that definitely went over the 47 with a great comeback by Jacksonville. And then I looked at it Sunday night. For some reason, in my desperation to try to feel I had the Giants skins over. Why would I have ever bet the Giants skins game to go over? But somehow, I panicked. I panicked last week.
You totally panicked. You know what? That was like, I would hate to see you have to pull the pin on the grenade in a must-do situation and actually let go. Like, I don't think that would work well. I would not want you being in charge of the grenade.
Oh, I'd blow us all up. I'd blow us all up.
Yeah, I agree. You'd pull the pin and not throw it, for sure.
I'd probably throw the pin. I'd pull the pin and throw the pin. I'd throw the pin. I'd keep the grenade. So, 2-1. I went 2-1 of the week. 15, 11, and 1 at 58%. So still on top. Still on top by half game over Bart. And 1.5 over Deno. So it's a tight race. We're all right there.
All right. Do you have Deno's picks?
I've got Deno's picks. He's last. So Deno's in for 3 unders again this week. He's got some low unders. So the weather's supposed to blow in this weekend apparently because these unders on the NFL are low, which is always a sucker's bet. These guys can figure out how to play in snow a lot of times. So be careful if you're betting these low unders in these NFL games. So Deno's got the Jets versus Jacksonville under 36. So only 36 points. He likes the under. He's got Baltimore, Atlanta under 36.5. He's got the Chargers and Indy under 46. I think that's the Monday nighter.
Chargers and
so too low unders at 36 on.
Wow.
On the Sunday on the Sunday.
Right, I'm going lower. I never do unders, but I'm going lower.
Oh, you're buying into the snow thing?
Well, listen. I do a little bit more research than just headlines. It's going to be, there's going to be a storm. I did a little more research. Cleveland's going to be a mess, an absolute mess. So let's lead right into that. I almost made it my lock, but I'm not going to make it my lock. But I'm doing the under. It's 32.5 right now. I'm under Cleveland. And who are they playing?
32.5. Who are they playing?
Saints. I'm under 32.5. Love that one.
Wow.
For my second pick, and I must admit, this is not a great week, but I'm going to keep riding. I'm going to keep riding what got me here this week. My second pick, I'm going Niners -7 at home against the Commanders. Love that.
Lock. You took my lock.
Well, you know what? This way you cannot jump on it as well. And then last, and I'm going to lock them up one more time. You got to ride the Express, baby. The Lions Express. I'm locking them up.
Damn it.
The Leos.
I hate being in the lead.
-2.5 in Carolina. Even though that one does scare me a little bit. I have a bad feel about it because the Lions, they're now literally in playoff contention. So a bad loss is coming, right? They put themselves to be where they're supposed to be.
I love them this week.
Bad loss is coming. But I'm locking them up this week. Locking them up.
San Fran. So I did actually see. I was smart this week. I made 6 different picks, knowing that you would take 2 of mine. So you did take 2 of mine with the San Fran and Detroit. So I will not take those, even though those are my top 2 favorites.
Well, no one cares. Just give us your pick. No one cares.
I'll take Cincy. I'll take Cincy over New England.
Yeah, I don't mind. I like that.
-3. Cincy's going in one direction, and New England's going in the other direction. So I'm going to ride the momentum there. I'm going to take Tennessee over Houston. I think Houston played the Super Bowl last week against KC. Lost that one. I don't think they have any reason to show up this week. So I'm going to take Tennessee minus the 4 over Houston. Tennessee's still fighting for playoff positioning.
That's only 4. Jesus.
And my third one, I'm going to take the Miami Dolphins, who solid squad, over Green Bay at home minus the 4. I just don't think Green Bay's for real. I think Miami's still half decent out there. So
you know what? I do like that one too. I do. I think that's it. Yeah. But what a terrible slate of Christmas games. Oh my God.
Really?
Green Bay Dolphins, Denver Rams, and Buccaneers Cardinals for Christmas.
That's Christmas Day.
That is.
Oh, Jesus.
Like that's one where I mean I know what's happened. Like I may not even pay attention to any of that.
The NBA's on. Go watch NBA. Let's say.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna get too geeked up about that, especially Steph's out with Golden State. Like who cares? Like it's
the what was I gonna say? And the and that how bad are the Cardinals for the Buccaneers to be favored by 7 on the road in Arizona?
Well, they're on their third string quarterback. Yeah, so it's bad. But the Bucks must win. Like the Bucks have to win this game. So
they're a terrible team.
Let's move on here.
Okay.
What drives? You want me to want me to start?
Yeah, you start. I already did a bit of one with football, so you can start.
Well, mine just happened 2 hours ago. So today was a big day. I was supposed to have lunch, my annual Christmas lunch with my 2 directors. That's my bosses. And but I woke up this morning. They're both a little bit older. One's very sort of COVID sensitive. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do the right thing. I'm just gonna say let's wait till next week. So they come back, they get my email. Sorry to hear that, Dave. Blah blah blah. Well, 2 hours later, I get this panic text from one of the directors. Any chance we could talk right now? Like, I guess. I mean, I'm not I told you we're not getting together because I'm not feeling great. But whatever. So, by the way, I hear from this guy 3 times a year. But today, all of a sudden, panicking me. So I call him back, and the first thing he says is, "Can you please call me back on WhatsApp or FaceTime audio? Because apparently, whatever we're going to talk about, if it's on the cellular network, someone could be listening." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So then I had to figure out how to do that. So I did that. I called him back, and the reason why he wanted to call me was ridiculous. Did not need my immediate attention, but he kept me on the phone for 45 fucking minutes. I was like, I've told you very clearly we couldn't do lunch today because if you assume that someone's not feeling great, the last thing you want to do is chat them up, right? And talk to your total disregard for any, thank God it was nothing, right? But I was just like, how could, if I knew a staff member was sick and I had to speak to him, I'd call him, I'd be like, "Hey, listen, sorry to bother you. I know you're not feeling well. I need you for 2 seconds." It would be 2 seconds and I would be done. 45 minutes rambling. I was like, what the fuck? I was so angry. I was just like, God damn it, you are a crazy person.
I thought it was your termination lunch. That's good. I thought that.
Well, listen, I always assume it is. But no, of course you do. It was not. No, this was far more self-serving for them than it was for me. So there you go. So here it is. All right. If someone has informed you, regardless of whether you think they are or not, if someone's informed you they're not feeling great, don't chew their ear off later. That's it. Give them a day. Give them 24 hours.
Yeah. Get to the point.
Yeah, move on.
And get a result.
5 was like, hey, I don't know, totally okay. But 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway, there you go.
All right. What drives me crazy? It's going back to football. This whole college football bowl game thing is becoming a complete farce. So I'll give you an example this weekend. So I was watching the Cincinnati versus Louisville. So two kind of rivalry schools playing at a bowl game. One of the early bowl games at Fenway Park. I think it was I Don't Give a Shit bowl. I think that's what it was.
I think you're the only one watching it in Canada. You would have been the only Canadian watching that game.
I'm the only Canadian for sure. So there's no one playing these bowls, and no one's coming to watch. So there might have been 1,000 fans in the stadium. There might have been 1,000 fans at Fenway Park watching this game. It wasn't a super cold day, and you got to think if there's 50 players, and probably like 70 players in each team, times 2 teams, 140, times 3 family members. Well, pretty much all the families are. It's just family that's at this game. There's nobody watching this. And in that game, of the top 14 ranked players on each team, so you take the best 14 players on both the teams, 12 of those players had opted out either for the transfer portal or they're protecting themselves from an injury to the draft, or they just didn't feel like playing, one of the 3. So the game was full of people who hadn't played all year. Like they were saying that at least half the guys who were playing hadn't been on the field all year. So that's not a representation of a bowl game for you at the end of the season to have your bench. And that is becoming apparent, like glaringly apparent in many of these early bowl games. And even some of the ones that are mid-level bowl games. So this bowl thing has become a total joke. It's not the best playing the best for bowl. It's becoming all these Mickey Mouse bowl games. I don't know if it's TV revenue that's making it happen, but it's becoming a disaster. And the NCAA has to figure this out. Like, don't let these guys don't open the transfer portal until after the bowl games or something. Like, don't let these guys leave and not play a game that they're on. They went to school there. They got a scholarship there. They played a full season there.
I think the moral of all of this whole pod may actually be that sporting leagues cannot afford for you to get sick and watch their sports for 96 straight hours, because you're not Mr. Positive if you have that much. If your attention is strictly focused on how they run their sport, it's not good for anybody. Not good for anybody.
It's what, but there's flaws. I'm
glaring flaws. I think the flaw is they don't expect anyone to ever watch it for that many consecutive hours. That's the flaw. They have too many games on consecutively. They got to break up the schedule. I agree.
But come on, this transfer, these guys not playing bowl games.
That's been going on for a few years now. I mean, it started about 4 or 5 years ago, where the main college dudes, with Alabama wasn't the championship hunt, like half their team wouldn't play because they're like, I got to protect myself for the draft. Which, you know what, the name, image, likeness thing needs to take care of that too. Say, listen, this is dependent on you playing in bowl games. Like, we're paying, like, shit like that. Like, they got to figure that sort of thing out. So listen, I'm with you, Kitch. I'm with you.
Yeah, it's just like, or just don't have them. Don't have 45 bowl games. Like these some of these early ones are just ridiculous.
COVID Kitch is quite the bitch. All right, listen, I got to move on to AOB here because my AOB is sitting next to me today. So for our longtime listeners, you'll remember that these two were part of a pod last year, and they're going to be doing a live pod with me. Well, once we get to a certain number of, I think it's 1,000 followers on TikTok. And we're almost there. We're almost at 1,000. We are allowed to do live shit then. So I told the boys, one game, we're going to live pod, and I'll have them there with me, and we'll bring them back in the universe. But in anticipation of that, and John, this will be some good TikTok stuff here, I'm sure. Please welcome back to the pod one young Bobby Bart and one pain in the ass Johnny Bart. Yeah, boys. Hey, remember, speak into the mic.
How are you, boys?
Okay, what are we doing?
Well, what do you want to talk to Kitch about?
Kitch, give me a topic to talk about.
With the Raptors game.
Well, you guys are coming on. What are you gonna when you come on the pod? What are you guys gonna do? What am I looking forward to?
Nick Nurse should be fired, first of all.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Johnny, I gotta ask you: Are we still building the Scotty Barnes statue? Is that still going up? Because you were big on that last year.
I never said anything about Scotty Barnes being my favorite of all time.
Oh, you didn't.
I was always a Pascal Siakam guy. Always.
Oh, yeah, okay.
But when Nick Nurse draws up a play where Pascal Siakam dribbles the ball on the 3-point line with 10 seconds left to shoot it off the dribble, Pascal Siakam, the guy makes 1 3 a game, but he's our shooter down the stretch. He's the guy.
I totally agree. Terrible call, Johnny.
I have one here, and it's from Zach Lowe. This may have been talked about already, but according to Zach Lowe, OG is wanted by every team in the entire league, and that the haul for him could be close to the haul that the Cavs had to give up for Donovan Mitchell. That's what Zach Lowe said. I'm not gonna. I mean, if we could get first rounders and some young studs for OG, I would do it in a heartbeat.
One shock me is his trade value has never been better. Like Bart said on the pod today, he could fill a piece that we don't have, and that team doesn't have when he gets into a playoff run. And in this day and age, nothing. Like look at Rudy Gobert. Look what they gave up for him, and so they'll pay for defensive guys that are above average. So definitely wouldn't shock me if we got a good consortium for something like OG.
Are you all in this year, kids, or are you blow it up?
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah, me too.
Have you been listening to the pods? Have you not been listening to the pods?
Yeah, no, I'm a Leafs fan. I want Victor Wembanyama on our team next year. I am sell the farm, get rid of Freddie, get rid of Gary, get rid of everybody but Pascal. And
Scotty, you got to keep
No,
Scotty. You got to get rid of Scotty too.
we couldn't know.
I hate
Hang on, Johnny. Johnny.
Johnny,
Johnny. I know. Johnny, you need to look up the word hypocrite. It's like, take a look in the dictionary. Look at the word hypocrite. I think there's a picture of you right there.
I always wanted Jalen Suggs over him. I was always a Jalen Suggs guy. I always thought Jalen Suggs was better.
Okay, well, listen,
Hold on,
boys,
hold
thank
on.
you.
1 second.
Okay, this is.
You're only at 40 minutes. You got plenty of time.
I know, but it's more because it's a pain.
Forgot what I was gonna say now.
Thank you.
It breaks my heart every day to think that we could have had Kevin Durant on our team, and didn't do it for a guy who's.
Did you watch him? But did you watch him the other night when he was playing in the Nets? Like he's yipping in everybody's face. Guys are telling him you didn't foul. He's like, I didn't foul. I still don't want him. He's a sucky baby, pain in the ass, whiny bitch. Yeah, I don't
Kevin
want
Durant, but I do want a championship, and he's our best chance. So
It also, one second.
Final count.
It also would have been nice if we traded Kyle Lowry, who puts up 5 points a game now, for a Tyrese Maxey and a Tyrese Halliburton. That's his name.
It's
Thibault, Matisse Thibault. Sorry.
Johnny, any parting words in AOB segment for you?
Yeah.
Look at the camera. He wants to see you. This will be good. This will be on TikTok.
Trade Scotty. It's terrible.
Wow. How the tides have turned on
He, Johnny is flavor of the day. He's a flavor of the day.
Yes, he is.
No, listen, TikTok Nation, I apologize. That clearly zero prep time went into that. They begged to get on this thing. Zero prep time. What do you want to talk about? You doorknob. All right, thank you. No, you're done. All right, Kitch, any AOB for us?
Yeah, I got my super secret pub crawl tonight. You saw that?
Right.
I got started the super secret pub crawl.
So happy I wasn't on that.
Everybody he has a super secret. Ike has a super secret pub crawl every year that only a select few get invited to, and me and my gang of buddies, we always crash it. So it's not that super secret. And he's given up now. He just tells us where we're going now. He doesn't try to hide it from us. He's like, hey, this is where we're going. Just show up at some point.
No, I'm sure, yeah. Yeah, I saw that today. I was like I said, I was really sorry. I couldn't make it. It would have been a lot of fun. Sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, but I can't wait for the 95 updates we'll get throughout the process. Yeah. That'd be good.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, well,
it's still drawing straws on who's gonna. One of us, somebody has to carry Ike home, and it's a big controversy on who's going to carry Ike home.
Well, I can tell you, it won't be one person. Unless something's changed with Ike in the last 2 months, it won't be one person carrying him home. All right, listen. No, Johnny, you're done.
Breaking news.
Oh,
30 minutes ago.
what is it? Breaking news.
Multiple NBA executives believe Gary Trent Jr. will opt out of his $18 million player option and enter free agency.
Okay, honestly, you two, go away. That's not breaking news. We've known that. Everyone knows he's opting out. Okay, listen. Thank you. That good work there, Woj.
I hate Scotty.
All right, Kitch, we're gonna wrap this thing. Obviously, we're never doing this again. We're gonna wrap this up.
Okay, take it away, Kawhi.
Kawhi up top. Looks at the clock, turns the corner for the win. Got it! Kawhi Leonard with the game winner!